Then you also had Tsuji versus Tanahashi, and what a lot of people are saying was the better match of the last two matches. I prefer Takeshita and Goto over that one, but I will say the storytelling and the emotion in this one was better than the main event matchup, because I love the commentary was tremendous during that matchup, telling the story about how a young Tsuji met Tanahashi, and Tanahashi gave him the inspiration to become a pro wrestler. Remembering when I first started watching New Japan, seeing a young Yota Tsuji as a young lion pounding on the apron for go Ace during all of his big time championship matches with Naito and Okada. So it came all full circle in this matchup and really felt like the passing of the torch moment that every retirement tour should have. That's what it felt like with Tsuji and Tanahashi here, and they busted out all the different moves. Tanahashi has a better spear than CM Punk, and Tsuji was able to fly and do the high fly flow, but he missed in the end. In the end, though, he hit the Gene Blaster, picked up the win. I thought that was another great matchup on the show. I thought the post match was probably the best moment on the show, with Tsuji thanking Tanahashi for all his guidance and giving him the inspiration, and then Tanahashi saying that you're the leader of the new generation, basically giving them the battery in the back to go get the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, go be the face of the company. So it really feels like this is like the coronation for Tsuji coming up on January 4th on what is the fastest selling Wrestle Kingdom of all time. They announced this morning 31,000 tickets already sold. The last time that New Japan Pro Wrestling had 40,000 in the Tokyo Dome was Kenny Omega versus Kazuchika Okada back at Wrestle Kingdom in 2017. I believe they were slightly down for the Jericho Omega the next year, but they had 40,000 in 2017. I recently watched that matchup, and that's what commentary said. So that was the last time that they had close to 40,000.
I believe you. They had 40 for
2020.
Okada Okada and Ibushi.
2020, yeah. 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah, I almost forgot that one. Almost
Yeah.
forgot that one. You're right. You're actually
Yeah,
right.
because
Yeah.
I just did the article this morning of how many I did the ticket sale article, and I was like, oh, when was the last time they had over 30? And the last time they had over 30 was Naito and Okada, and then
Which was
Okada.
night 2.
Yeah,
Yeah,
night
that
two.
was night
But
2 in 2020.
yeah, they had over 30 for that one, but they had over 40 for night one with Okada and Ibushi.
Yeah,
So
I should have remembered that, because 2020 was the first. I was gonna go to Japan that year. I wanted to go to Japan, but I was my girl was pregnant at that time, so I was like, oh, I can't go. Fuck. And then yeah, that was one of the better Wrestle Kingdom shows. But I was supposed to go to that one, so I should have remembered. That was the one that had 40,000. But yeah, 2017 also had 40,000 with Omega and Okada. So this is gonna be huge. So it should be the show where they coordinate the next top guy. So it makes sense that it's Tsuji and Takeshita. Post match, you also had, after Tsuji and Tanahashi had their moment, he left, and the hottest act in Japan, Yuto Ice came out. He got a big pop. He basically challenged Tanahashi for this weekend in Anjo for New Japan Road. He's going to be facing him for the very first time. They're both from Gifu. They actually went to the same elementary school. And Yuto is basically upset that he's not the toughest guy that ever graduated from his elementary school. So that's why he's challenging Tanahashi, which is such a TV movie freaking reason that I love it. So yeah, that was cool. But my big thing was, why didn't we get any indication of who Tanahashi is facing at the Dome? Like, we didn't even get a hint.
I assume they have this decided, but I'm also not sure if they have this decided because
Me
he's
either.
faced a lot of people you would kind of maybe expect him to face on this final road here. So the options feel a little limited. He's mentioned it's going to be kind of a full circle thing. It feels like it might be Okada. I don't know for certain, but of the names that are like possible, like you're not gonna get Nakamura. You're not
No,
gonna get AJ.
no.
Okada is kind of the guy that makes the most sense, who is most likely available for this.
Yes. Okada makes a lot of sense, and he is available. Naito makes a lot of sense, and he would
Yeah,
be available. Shibata is a guy that would make a lot of sense that might be available. Uh, but they did that in January, but they didn't have a finish, so maybe we could do like a stip on it that gives it a finish. Now that Shibata is a heel, you could kind of do the matchup without any issues, really, to me. As far as like the active roster, there's someone like a David Finley who has a great story because he was kind of one of Tanahashi's proteges when he was in the dojo. And the whole thing with Tsuji and Tanahashi, that match was set up because Tanahashi beat Tsuji in the G1 climax. And a lot of Tanahashi's final G1 was about him putting over the younger stars. But in particular, he actually got wins over two major young stars in Tsuji and Finley. So Finley's whole thing, his whole character the last 2 years has been about, you beat me, I want revenge. That's basically how all of his feuds start. You beat me in this tournament, now I want revenge. I want to avenge my loss. So that could be something you can go in that direction if you want to do something on the main with the main roster. As far as the young guys, there's like Yuya Uemura, who had a really good matchup with Tanahashi in the G1. He would be a great guy if you wanted to like a passing of the torch moment in his last matchup. Gabe Kidd had a great matchup with him on the Soul Tour. You can go back to that. He doesn't have like a ready-made matchup for the Tokyo Dome himself, Gabe Kidd. So he's a big star that you would want to put in that type of like big matchup. That's is the big draw for this show. So we'll see what happens with those. So
I think I'm gonna quell expectations here. Not for Tanahashi's final opponent. You expect who you think. I don't think it'll be Gabe Kidd, by the way, because they kind of did that.
no,
They did their match on the final road. I like that's a fine shout. I think this is going to be a. And this feels weird to say about a Wrestle Kingdom show. I think this is going to be a more limited Wrestle Kingdom because it's back on TV and so I think
no,
they have
not
more.
live, not live.
I think they have more of a time constraint though, even though it's not live. But I think they have a little bit more of a time constraint because of that. And the Tanahashi ceremony is probably going to be long. This is not a report. This is what I've heard from New Japan people. That
Well.
maybe
From what I've heard is they're scheduled to start the show in Japan at 4 p.m. and the show's not going to end till 10 p.m. because the TV Asahi their start time is for when the show ends. So the show is starting at 4 p.m. in Japan and it's starting on TV Asahi at 10 p.m. So it's a 6 hour show. So maybe you're probably
it's
right
always
about
a
the
6 hour
longer.
show.
Yeah, you're probably right about the longer retirement thing. It'll probably be like Tanahashi's portion of the show is probably going to be like an hour to an hour and a half.
Yeah, I think that I think we might get less matches or matches maybe not going quite as long because of it. Maybe we get more multi-man matches.